My name is Moses Watasa. I am substantively Commissioner for Communication and Information Dissemination. But right now, I also have the honor to be doubling as the acting PS to the ministry. Our new PS has just been appointed, and she's just coming in to settle in. So right now I'm doing two jobs, i.e. the one of Commissioner for Communication and Information Dissemination, but also Permanent Secretary, acting, as well as the Accounting Officer for the ministry. By way of background, this ministry is the lead government actor. We do formulate and implement policies regarding to all issues ICT, information and communication technology, all issues communication and information dissemination, all issues national guidance in the country. So our core mandate is to formulate and implement policies regarding the rollout of ICT in Uganda, but also the communication function of government, where UBC you actually fall. You are part of the communication framework of government. You are one of our agencies, but under communication we also have the media center, which is also right now under the ministry. Previously it was under the office of the president, but it now operates from the ambit of this ministry. We also have a digital communication unit under this ministry, which does nothing but also communication using digital platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, online dissemination of information about government programs. ICT, we develop the infrastructure like cables for the internet, transmitters. In Uganda we use mixed technology. We use the cables, but we also use satellite. Now, the ministry as it is today, it's called the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. But remember, to be the way it is now, as ICT and National Guidance started in the year 2016. In fact, this happened just after the presidential and parliamentary elections, when His Excellency the President sought to streamline and converge actors in communication, ICT, but also issues of national guidance. Before that, communication, for example, ourselves, we were under the office of the Prime Minister. Even you, UBC, by extension, you were under the office of the Prime Minister. Then you had a bit of the regulation, like issuing licenses under UCC, which was then under Ministry of ICT. So His Excellency the President, and rightly so in his wisdom, thought that we needed to come together so that we operate as one hub for developing policies, but also implementing them on all issues of ICT, but also communication, but also now national guidance. So we are under one umbrella of Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Before that, you had the Ministry of ICT, which I remember that time Honorable John Nasasira was the minister. Then you also had the Minister of Information and National Guidance, and at that time we had the Honorable Jim Muhwezi, who was the last Minister of Information and National Guidance. So once we come together as ICT and National Guidance, we had Honorable Frank Tumwebaze as the first Minister of ICT and National Guidance. And of course, we do appreciate the vision of His Excellency the President for bringing us together. Now we operate even better, because now we have all these actors, dissemination, the media center, UBC yourselves, the digital communication unit, the regulation, the media council is here, UCC, which issues licenses for TV and radio under this ministry. So I think His Excellency got it perfectly right. So we now operate as a hub for ICT and national guidance. The ministry has the political wing, which is headed by the minister. Currently we have Honorable Chris Bariomunsi. He has just come in actually with two deputies, and I'm glad to note that for the first time ever, now we also have a Minister of State designated for issues to do with national guidance. It has never happened before. we always had a minister and one minister of state. But when His Excellency constituted the cabinet this time, he also gave us a minister to handle all issues to do with national guidance. And as a result, we are functionally more effective because we have a more solid political supervision, but also leadership. I want to also acknowledge our immediate former ministers, Honorable Judith Nabakova. She worked with us so much. For example, we're in the process of completing a new cabinet paper on communication, which is going to be a new policy for government communications across government. She also supported us to complete the national guidance policy, which is now ready actually for submission to cabinet. I also want to appreciate Honorable Frank Tumwebaze. He did a lot for us. These ICT innovations you see here, all those are his initiatives. He did this program where we now fund young people to develop ICT innovations and applications. We have the Innovation Hub in Nakawa, it's due for commissioning, and many other things. He also supported vigorously the communication function, regulation, and all those other issues. At technical level, we have a permanent secretary, as you know. And remember, I've said I have the honor to be acting as PS now, as we wait for our new PS to settle in. She's coming in anytime. So on top of my job as Commissioner for Information and Communication, I'm also filling in as acting PS, but also as acting accounting officer. In my view, we have come a long way as a ministry. Once ICT and communication and national guidance came together, we are moving even better. Because remember that ICT, for example, powers each and everything, whether communication, now we are going digital, the digital revolution. We have these online publishers. The media itself is converging. UBC is on air, UBC is online, UBC is on social media. All of these can only be possible when you have adequate ICT infrastructure. And I want to commend again and thank His Excellency the President, because if you notice, he never completes a speech without emphasizing the need for ICT as one of the core pillars for transformation and socio-economic development in Uganda. He is right, because as we talk now, ICT employs across the expanded value chain more than 1.3 million people. Yet we believe the potential is huge. In fact, we think that ICT should employ more than 3 million people by 2025, for example. And for that matter, the government continues investing in infrastructure, cables for internet. We are being ambitious. In the NRM manifesto for 2021-2026, which we are just starting to roll out this financial year, we aim to build 8,000 kilometers of fiber optic cables. So you are going to see that internet is accessible even in faraway places like Chidepo National Park, Karamoja. We are there. We want to reach more places in Karamoja, places like West Nile. 8,000 kilometers we are going to build in the manifesto of 2021 to 2026. So that means even e-commerce should flourish in the country. People should do more business online. Right now, we are in a situation of COVID-19 with a lot of restrictions. If you are importing vehicles, for example, from Japan or from Dubai or from Europe, you don't need to fly to Europe. You can order your vehicles online. If you are transferring money, all these can be done online because of the efficiency that ICT guarantees. But if you also look at government itself, we have taken most of our services online. You can now register a company online with URSB. You can apply for a passport to Immigration and the Ministry of Internal Affairs online. We are now even learning online through applications like Zoom. So even government, the e-services, the payments, we no longer write physical checks in this ministry. That ended. all payments are through electronic fund transfers. So even ourselves, filing returns with URA. So the ICT revolution is powering not just the way the private sector does business, but also even the efficiency and effectiveness of government. And I also reckon now we are talking about protecting the environment. When you take services online, you reduce the need for paper, because paper is carved out of trees. And you had the cabinet recently passed a resolution to strengthen efforts towards protecting the environment. Those ones are also going to be supported by taking our services online, so we use less paper, which is derived from cutting and processing trees. So the ministry has changed a lot fundamentally over the last decade. These are exciting times. We are now talking business process outsourcing, where you can have people in Uganda representing companies from elsewhere in the world. It has taken root. We are already employing over 5,000 people through business processing, outsource processing. You can have someone based here, but they're also marketing for Coca-Cola, a company based in America. They're also marketing for Mercedes-Benz, a company based in Germany, or Toyota, a company based in Japan. And I've had a look. Most of these people are young people. This is what excites me. And soon we're also going to have a proper bill now on how we are going to work with this arrangement of business process outsourcing. So as ICT evolves, the sky is the limit for this country, for business people, education institutions, ourselves as ministries, agencies, local governments, the efficiency. In fact, even procurement, we are taking it online. We are introducing, this ministry is one of the pilot entities, 11 of them, for the electronic government procurement, what we call the EGP. So you're not going to see these physical submissions for bids, for all those things are going online. This is the second year of piloting the e-government procurement. It's going well. Now we're going to scale it up and bring the rest of the government MDAs aboard the electronic government procurement. And you also know that when you minimize interaction between people, you also reduce on corruption. Because I used to hear that some of us, a few of us, government officials, you pocket an LPO and tell a service provider that do something small before you pick your LPO. Now it is not possible anymore. Once we complete the procurement process, an electronic LPO goes automatically to the mail inbox of the successful bidder. So whichever way you look at it, ICT is the present but also the future of the way we transact government business, the way we communicate, even as communicators electronically. I can now send the press releases to all over the country without either traveling or photocopying papers or faxing. So all this, I can tweet, I can tag media houses, UBC, Vision Group. So this is truly exciting. I'm glad to note that we are also now making significant strides as far as the national guidance is concerned. Right now, I'm just coming out of a meeting with our ministers, the 3 ministers. We have good news in that finally we are taking the national guidance policy to cabinet, I think probably in a few weeks' time. This policy is going to be the overarching framework for all issues national guidance in this country. For example, if you look around these things they call sports betting and gambling, you have able-bodied young men, they are gambling and sports betting throughout the day. You wonder where these people are getting money from. No wonder probably cases of crime appear to be increasing, because for you to gamble, you have to have earned money. So we want to use the policy to align and guide especially young people to be more responsible. We want to deal with issues of alcoholism. When you look around, in fact, before the lockdown, some bars were open even throughout the day. How can you have a country where people go to bars at 8 a.m. You see that. We have a generation of some of our young people who don't respect elders. That's not like African, but we also realize that this is because of partly the effect of global media, the globalization. You have all of these films coming in. You have things like homosexuality. It's not an African thing. So the policy is going to look at how we are going to guide people, even to appreciate hard work. Where I come from, sometimes I'm traveling to the village, young people here that I'm around, you hear, everyone's begging. These are young people who are able-bodied, so we want to align these people so they appreciate the value of being straight, of being morally upright, of appreciating work, of knowing that you cannot bet your way or gamble your way to prosperity. But we also want to have these people appreciate government programs. For example, now we have the parish model. It is packed with opportunities for the young people. We have the Emyoga, all those programs, the youth livelihood program, the women fund. All of these have opportunities, not only for young people, but even for older people like myself, even people older than myself. So we want people to appreciate that under, for example, the Vision 2040, the NDP3, even the manifesto and the annual budgets of government, there is support they can receive to continue improving themselves. You've had His Excellency concerned that we still have over 60% of our people who are still engaged in peasantry. You cannot transform a country that much if you have such a huge proportion of its population that is still in peasantry. And that is why you see one of his priorities in the next 5 years is to put a lot of money into wealth creation. And this is how programs like the parish model have come about. So under the National Guidance Program, we want to mobilize people to appreciate the opportunities available in the different government programs so that we improve the incomes and livelihoods of our people. And when you do that, it's also good for the country, because it means when consumption goes up because people have better incomes, then you collect more taxes. For example, every bottle of soda or even mineral water like you are taking, if every time someone consumes that, government is also collecting taxes. I'm happy to note that finally we are in the stage of taking the national guidance policy to cabinet, which is going to be the overall macro governing framework for all issues national guidance in the country. Like any other ministry, this ministry has some challenges. For example, technology keeps changing every day. The internet, there's a time, I think about 4 years ago, we were talking about 3G, third generation. Then comes the fourth generation. Then comes the 5G. So the technology changes very fast. So us as a ministry responsible for policy formulation, we need to continue also adapting quickly, because technology is not going to wait for us, yet technology actually presents opportunities for us. In fact, in that regard, I am happy to note that this ministry has now developed and is rolling out a strategy on the fourth industrial revolution. We have a task force. It was inaugurated by HE the President. It is chaired by our former minister, Honorable John Nasasira, with a lot of experts from here in the ministry, in the sector, these agencies like UCC, the NITAU. We are working with the schools, we are working with the private innovators like the Innovation Village, our own innovators. We are funding under this ministry so that we keep developing solutions which ensure that Uganda remains at pace with the rapid changes in the technology terrain. So yes, it's a challenge, but we're also responding to the challenge to create opportunities, especially for the young people. Then some of our laws have been overtaken, parts of our laws have been overtaken by time. I can give the example of the Press and Journalism Act. This is a law of 1996. At that time, for example, we had about 4 radios, we had Radio Uganda. That time you were not called UBC. You became UBC in 2005 when we merged the UTV and Radio Uganda. So we had Radio Uganda. We had, I think, Capital Radio probably and Sanyu. Then the internet was just coming in. The uptake and use was limited. So we mainly had the print media, the newspapers, a few magazines, and yourselves, about 4 or 5 radios. But now, we are in the year 2021. Like I said, the news has gone digital. Anyone with a smartphone now can capture and disseminate news, what we are now calling citizen journalism. That law, when it was passed, it couldn't have foreseen that there will be a time after the turn of the century when we are going to have citizen journalism, people using smartphones, communication has gone digital. Now we have dozens of online news publishers. They don't come out in print, they're online. We have all sorts of people, including those not trained in journalism, who are capturing and disseminating news and content, including what is defamatory, what is intrusive, what is in bad taste, what infringes on our values as a people, as Ugandans. So you can see, yet you have a law in place which was crafted in 1995 and completed in 1996. So that is why this is a challenge, because now a citizen journalist is not recognized under that law as a journalist. Yet these people, like I said, they can pick a story on Parliament Avenue here and post it on Twitter. And it goes all around the world because now technology has made the world one place. Then there are also those who deliberately damage, the image of the country, exaggerating news, falsifying news, attacking the leaders of the country. So to deal with this challenge, we are going back to the board. On the board to look at this law and institute amendments so that we bring the law to the realities of the 21st century. We've also been facing some funding gaps, but I'm glad to note that the support, with support from HE, the President, our budget continues improving. We still have gaps, but we have taken on the right direction. For example, even UBC yourselves, your budget is under this ministry. I'm sure you know it's better, it's getting better. So we do thank His Excellency because he's the owner of the budget. He's also funding the innovations, young people. None of these people, I've never seen here an innovator who is above 35. COVID has affected us. In this ministry and sector, we've lost colleagues. We've lost colleagues within this building. We've lost a colleague who is to work right next to me here. We lost a former head of one of our agencies. We lost him. We lost a driver about 5 weeks ago. So COVID is real. It has impacted the ministry. Then we also had to scale down on operations, because once you go in a lockdown, to minimize movement and interaction of people, we first went to 10%, then we went to about 4%. When the cases were soaring, you remember His Excellency gave new directives, new guidelines to ensure that we arrest the spread of. But when you scale down like that, for example, we had the people here who had applied for the innovation program. You cannot easily mobilize the teams to review the submissions in order for you to progress. But eventually, we are back now. But we also improvise through platforms like Zoom, which is also enabled by ICT. So the scaling down also affected a bit some of the operations of the ministry. But I'm glad to note that we are back to almost full service. Finally, I want to thank all the great partners who support the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance. Number one, I want to thank HE, the President. He has always prioritized ICT and even communication now. And like I've said, that is why our resources, the support continues improving. I want to thank our political leaders, our ministers. Honorable Chris Baryomunsi is just coming in with the Honorable Ministers of State, Honorable Sebugwawe Joyce, Honorable Geoffrey Kabyanga. I've talked about the immense input by Honorable Judith Nabakova, Honorable Frank Tumwebaze, and Honorable Jim Muhwezi and others before then. So we want to thank them. I want to thank my colleagues, the technical leadership here, the PS who is coming in, the PS who has just left, Honorable Bajire. We had a PS before that, Dr. Jime Samanya. All of these people have contributed to the building blocks to make this ministry what it is today, and they have given us a firm foundation, or even beyond the foundation, where we continue building to drive the ICT revolution in the country. I want to thank the agencies, because part of our mandate is implemented through the agencies. UBC are one of them. We have UCC, we have NITAU, we have Posta Uganda, we have the good people at Uganda Media Center, we have the Media Council, who we've just been meeting right now. We have the Uganda Institute of Information and Communication Technology. With all of these as a sector, we are stronger, and we can promise the country that they can expect more from us in the future.